Empower716. I'm your host, Rob Lowry. This is a show for entrepreneurs, business owners, side hustlers, and career shifters, those who are interested or actually those with a purpose and committed to growing their business as well as their life. And so this is actually our episode number 10. We have only had 10 episodes. And the buzz and the love has been really great. I just want to give a shout out to everybody who's inbox, send messages, emails of support. And so we really are doing some great things of sharing pretty much the journey of people who in Western New York are doing some great things in business and entrepreneurial, and they're sharing their journey along. And so it's such a great opportunity and space to share that. So I do want to give a shout out to all of our Facebook viewers, our YouTube, LinkedIn, and our audio podcast audience. If you are watching this video now, please make sure you like and share the video. And even if you are watching it on replay, like and share. And so another thing I want to talk about is our young entrepreneurs. So if you have been watching our episodes, you know each month we recognize young entrepreneurs, those who are age 21 or younger, pretty much have a business or exploring entrepreneurial journey. And so pretty much we recognize that person once a month. And so we've been doing some great things. We've got billboards up supporting our young people and making sure we support them as well. So as you know, on our heading, we're expecting a guest by the name of Jayla Ivy, the owner of Touch of Paris Salon. Unfortunately, she could not be here this evening just due to a family emergency. We're going to keep her family in prayer. But I do have a group of guys here who I've known for quite a couple of years, more than a couple of years. They go by the name of ATeam. And so we're going to sit down with them and talk about just some things with entrepreneurs and music in the industry, what they go through as local artists, and just some of the challenges, some insights and strategies of what they're doing in their lives. But before that, we're going to go to a short video about a side hustler in Western New York, and we like to promote and support small businesses in Western New York. And so I want to give a quick introduction to Charve Carter, who is a small business owner, and we want to give her a shout out and watch this quick video. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Rob Lowry, and we are here with Empower716, the show for entrepreneurs, business owners, side hustlers, and career shifters. I have the privilege and honor to introduce our first side hustler on the show. So we've been highlighting entrepreneurs, business owners, but we know side hustlers are those who have full-time jobs and they do this on the side. So I want to have her introduce herself and tell us a little bit about her business and all that she provides. Tell us who you are.
So hello, my name is Charve Carter, the owner of Sachets Butter. I do not just sell a product, but an experience. I sell shea butter, body butter, sugar scrub, lip scrub, and beyond.
Tell us a little bit about the products again. So like what kind of sets you apart?
My product is all natural, homemade.
Okay.
Most of my products are locally sourced, such as the scents or fragrances I put in my product.
Part of the side hustle, like we talked about, is carrying that full-time job. So you have a full-time job.
Yes.
Just graduated from college.
Yes.
So what do you plan to do like in the next couple of years, or what's your plan?
So my next couple of years is, of course, growing my business, but also I'm currently studying for the MCATs in June because I anticipate on applying for med school in about 2 or 3 years.
Okay. Wow. So you do juggle multiple hats. What advice would you give to side hustlers out there that says, you know what, I got this gift, but I got a full-time job, I'm going to school. What advice would you give them?
Start. Just start.
Okay.
Just start it. If you see in the background, so many businesses that probably birthed out because of the pandemic. It just start. I started Sachets with $7 in my account because I realized you don't have to have a lot of money to start a business.
So where could people reach you to purchase your product?
I am on Facebook, on Instagram, and I also have my own e-commerce website.
Okay.
You can catch me at any vendor event.
Like, I know your name, so where they find you on Facebook?
Sasha's Butter on Facebook and on Instagram.
Join us for the hottest new live video podcast, Empower716 with Coach Robert Lowry, a show for entrepreneurs, business owners, side hustlers, plus career shifters committed to growing their business and life. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn every Monday at 5 p.m. Featuring successful entrepreneurs and diverse business owners from Western New York, such as Dennis Wilson Jr., Tony DuBois Kroom, Makai Gibbs, Lysandra Butler, Devontae Davis, Nakia Marie, Karan Briggs, Janice McKinney, Derek Parson, Sheila L. Brown, Jayla Ivy, Paul Villani, Raquel Hall, Valentino Shine Jr. For more information, go to www.empower716.com.
All right, welcome back. So, as I said, we have the ATeam in the building. I don't know, kick us to the other camera. So we trying out this different camera shot. So we got two guys in here. So we're gonna give a quick introduction about the ATeam. So I'm gonna start with my man Ronnie. Got your government name. So tell us about who you are and what do you do in the band?
My name is Ronnie Benning. I go by Biz on the Beat though.
Biz on the Beat?
Yeah, Biz on the Beat. I play drums, producer. Trying to branch out and be an artist. I want to think of myself as a jack of all trades musically. That's what I'm striving to be. I want to be something like that. Okay. But, that's really it. I'm a normal guy though. I love music and I love God. So that got me here.
I'm with it. All right, so we're gonna go to who we got next.
I'm Ray. What they call me? Slim Rex. I don't even know how I got that name, but yeah.
We using the whip.
Yeah.
Think about new
I'm
names.
the bass player. I handle all the business, all of that. I try to keep the guys in check. You know what I'm saying? I'm the youngest, so
that's a tough job. All right, our next member.
I'm Winston Reed. I go by Trey Keys. I play keys, synth stuff. I do play drums as well, some bass, but mostly keys. We all do producing together, so that's why we the ATeam.
For sure.
All right. So we're gonna get you guys out of because you guys are really sound mellow and shy and well reserved, and I know that's completely the opposite of y'all.
Hey, listen, the cameras ain't for me.
Yeah. Y'all being all serious
we
in here, like
cameras had the cameras in. I open them.
Cooling right now.
Yeah. So it's all good. So I wanna let's start with just talk about your weekend. Anything happening this weekend? Oh, we forgot. Rod.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
We got the brains, Mr. Hot Rod.
Hot Rod.
Hot Rod RB3. He got on us. Well, he got on me. He said, "Who put Hot Rod on there?" I'm like, man. That's my bad, bro. I always call him Hot Rod, but that's RB3 right there.
So RB3.
Yeah, that's what we're missing right now. He has some other things that he had to do, and he couldn't be here with us, unfortunately. But he's always with us. We here right now. He with us. So
awesome. That's what's up.
Yeah, we can't forget about our brother, man. For sure.
So let's anything going on or happen this weekend? Anybody do any
this past
stuff?
weekend?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we actually had a Next Gen show on Saturday. It was at Saline Field upstairs in the Consumers Pub. We had a show. It was from 8 to, honestly, I want to say about 11:30, 12.
Okay.
just live music. We had the great Curtis Lavelle. She came and she did her thing. I'm not sure if you're aware who that is.
No.
She's from Buffalo, New York. Her name is Curtis Lavelle. She's amazing. She does her own thing. Like she has a looper and she creates her own beat, like
Really?
right in front of you. Like she's sitting right here and she got a looper and she'll loop certain parts and she do her thing. We had Jessica. Jessica came through and sang some songs for us, and we had Markel. Markel is also a member of the Next Gen Collective, and we had a couple people come up and do some songs
Nice.
for open mic type thing. We had two drummers, the original set with the guys, with the bros, and that was really it as far as
You was working.
yeah, we had a couple things. We had a birthday party too. What was that, Friday? Or was that last week?
Last week. Yeah,
Okay, but this whole month we've been extremely busy. Grateful, but busy.
That's what's up. Well, Ray or Winton, anything special going on this weekend besides the work?
Nope. Just getting. Now I'm getting rest all this week. Getting rest all this week. That's it.
So let's jump into. I want to talk about entrepreneurs and music, and the reason, I'm glad we had a little chance to expand this interview because I love music, and I tell people I rarely listen to gospel music. I only know like popular gospel music artists, but I really love like hip hop and R&B. And when I was actually younger, I wanted to be a rapper. That was my goal.
That's right.
And-
You
and
about
I-
to say you spit?
Yeah. So I talk about not to, I plug myself in this book. I talk about my journey to writing songs and wanting to be a rapper and writing hooks. And so if you read the book,
Oh yeah, how much is the book?
the
Gotta
book,
get one.
$10,
Oh, yeah,
$10.
Before we leave, I need one
But
for sure.
so in my book, I talk about my love for music and me writing music, and then eventually trying to get sending my this is when they had y'all too young for this, but the cassette tapes. And so we would when you did a song, you had to like re-record it. You had two cassette decks, and you had to record so you can ad lib and all other stuff. And so I send my tape out to a couple music labels and stuff like that. So but I admired Ice Cube. That was my person. Ice Cube and NWA.
Okay.
But the reason why I said that is because music was a place where I had like the creativity came out of me. So it was like you just like poetry and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I got older in the jobs, you kind of lose all that creativity. And so as I get older, as I evolve, I'm like, that's the space I want to go back into. And so I always find it like I wanted to play drums when I was younger. So I had, spent about 2 years playing drums. And then I wanted to do piano lessons. And so I did that in college for about a year. And then I couldn't do the keys and trying to memorize all that stuff.
Yeah.
But always, whenever someone, like, when I see a drummer or keyboard player, I'm always, like, intrigued because I know the craft. I respect it. So I really wanted to give that insight of, like, the love for music. So kind of, I want to start with you, Ronnie, first, and kind of give me some insight about how you found or discovered your passion.
Well, first, I just want to say I appreciate your love for music, and it's something that I never knew, that you wanted to be a rapper and you wrote books and stuff like that. We need to get into that. If you still write a little bit.
I'm a rusty. I ain't say I was good. I ain't say I was good.
Listen. We'll work it out. We'll work it out. But I first got into my love for music. I want to say at an early age, I was told. I'm 29 now, so I was told that at 2 years old I was playing drums or playing pots and pans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They could tell that I wanted to be a drummer at an early age, and it kind of just stuck with me. I believe it. We were recently on a podcast, I want to say last month or so, and I brought up this story, and one of the guys that was there, shout out to Delwin, that's Unc right there. He was like, "Man, we remember." I told this similar story. He like, "Man, we remember." He telling the truth, and it's good to see like somebody that can actually remember that. So being at an early age, 2, 3, I started drums, and I really just want to say like being in church really just helped shape my musicality, I would say. And then later on down the line, being able to transition to spend a year and a half at Berklee College of Music in Boston, that was a eye-opening experience for me. Even though I was there for a short time, I still met tons of great people, tons of friends that I'm still in contact with to this day. And that was almost, I want to say about 7 years ago that I was there. So, but yeah, I just I want to say church. Church is really where I grew up at. My the late pastor Arlene Motley Spells. She gave I feel like she gave me the platform to really just I feel like she groomed me as far as being a musician. Like when everybody would tell me to get up off the drums, you know, after service, you know, you want to get on and you just want to play,
playing,
you
yeah.
want to bang, you want to do your thing. They're like, nah, I'm at church over, you know, you gotta, you know, next time. They always hit you with the next time. And I finally got old enough, and she was like, I was her drummer. Like wherever she was at, she's like, I need Ronnie on the drums, and she always had me, you know, right on her hip playing drums for her, and I appreciate that because I got to spend time with musicians like Tyshawn Canada. Rest in peace to him. Jeff Richardson, he's out in Chicago, Milwaukee area. That was actually her grandson. So just naming a few, you know, great musicians. D-Mont Motley, he played drums before then. That was her grandson. Just spending time with those guys and the musicians that came out of King Solomon and Buffalo was really influential on my musical experience.
I love
and then being around, you know, school and stuff like that, performing arts, you met other musicians, and that's just my music history just goes back. I could talk all day, but I don't want to, you know, take the time because
I love it. No, the foundation is there, and I appreciate you sharing that because I mean, some people think, you know, they don't know the journey which some people take and the appreciation of the art that you got to the point. So I'll go to Rayshawn and kind of give me, how did you get to where you are?
Man, I was put in the hot seat from day one. Let's start there. They all had the music background.
You did too?
I came out of church. Church definitely grew me, but I wasn't into music. And then being around these guys every day, I had kind of no choice.
Yeah.
I remember the first time somebody made me play. It was Rod, actually. We was at True Bethel on Swan Street, and he just handed me the keyboard and just told me hit these certain notes. Then from there, I just had to it was either you sink or swim.
Wow.
So, I mean, from there, I really just had to take, you know, my own knowledge and apply what I could figure out, you know, because these guys, they don't show you much. You know?
So I do have a question for you, Ray. So you kind of did you just kind of figure things out? So you started, like, what age did you start playing keys?
Maybe, I say like 20 maybe? Between 20 and 22.
Now, is it true that it's harder to, like, as far as instruments, learn when you older, it's harder to learn? Do you think, like, it's compared to, like...
I think so. Because nowadays, you got kids that's, 8 years old. And that
Just killing it, yeah.
Grown adults.
Yeah.
So I definitely think so.
Okay.
But, yeah, I was put in the hot seat from day one. Like, matter of fact, my first gig with him was at the biggest Caucasian church in Buffalo.
Really?
like literally, like
only a
it
few,
was just like, okay, let's go. We're going here.
Here's
This is
800
what
people,
it is.
you know.
I'm like, okay, but that was like I was put in the hot seat from day one.
Wow. So now, how do you, I guess, grow your craft for you, somebody who learned at a later age?
So what I do is I just take, you know, what I was self-taught, and then what these guys taught me, and I apply it as well as, you know, listening to other people and just incorporating it all into my own style, kind of.
Dope. All right, when?
Kind of start off like Ronnie, hitting pots and pans real early. You know, I used to all right, so when you go to shoe stores in the women's department, you know, they had the long black thing that be in them shoes. I used to always steal them joints every time we go to the mall and play that joint in the car like they drumsticks. So I started off playing drums. My mom was really big into music, like in jazz and she listened to everything, Earth, Wind, Fire stuff and all like that. So I grew up with like that. I have aunts and uncles that play too. As I got a little older and I went to performing arts, I met Ronnie there, and we always used to try to go on competition and some shit, and he used to always torch me. I had to always, better, baby. So I had to get get to shedding. But it got to a point where it's like me and Ryan looked at each other. It's like, listen, we
Better
both
to work
can't-
together.
Listen, we can't both be playing no drums. So one of us is. I was already kind of fiddling around on the keys a little bit. I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to keyboard and just.
So Ronnie kicked you off of the drum.
Listen, we had to make a decision. Like, listen,
We had to make one quick.
We was like, listen, since I already play keys a little bit more right now, I'll just go to keys.
And that's exactly what he said. He's not lying. We was in school.
He was like, man. So that's how started playing keys, listening to everybody. I played at a church called Promised Land. Of course, I'm church grown as well. Played at a church at Promised Land where it was Pat Dees was there, and he taught me the foundation of. Of course, he was strict on me though.
Yeah.
You know, always yelling at me and all that. It's like no. So, but he taught me the foundation. Then from there, in which his son is Jonathan Dees, and he won a couple Grammys.
Wow.
Shout out to the D's.
Yeah,
family,
shout out to
for
the
real.
Dees family. Yeah, but yeah, no, him and his brother and Pastor Greg Dees really gave me the platform on keys to really grow and groom. Also, I was at Upper Room with Pastor Danny Benning, which is his uncle.
Yes.
I was over there for a while. They gave me the platform. So, yeah, just watching, learning keys. I did go to school, college. You know, I learned theory in high school and college. So that kind of helped me, you know, understand what I'm playing more than just listening and, you know, praying that I'm right. And, and he goes back to the story with his grandmother and, you know, their grandmother, Pastor Motley. I remember one time she was so nice. I was just starting on them keys and I was in the wrong key. And she was so nice. She was like, "It's all right, baby. Next time, just let Lorenzo get on." But I appreciate, you know, these people giving us, you know, a chance. He gave Ronnie a chance. We made Ray.
Yeah, facts.
But yeah, that's my little background.
Shout out to Bishop Terry too.
Yeah, for sure.
Bishop Terry.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's so a lot of what I heard you guys talk about. I mean, the foundation was critical to your growth and kind of your beginnings. So just kind of explain to me, because I haven't grown up in the church again, so I don't have that kind of something to relate to. But do you think that, obviously you all mentioned that church, growing up in church and having the platform compared to somebody who hasn't grown up in church and say, I want to pick up an instrument and I'm in elementary school and I only, you know, play for my band at high school or elementary, do you think you have an advantage of being in the church because you do get to experience a lot more?
That's a great question. I won't say that we have an advantage. I would really just say it's all about your determination and your will to get better.
Yeah.
Because if you are just a kid that wants to pick up an instrument, you're no different than a kid that grew up in church because he just wants to pick up an instrument, you know. So I would really say I had the experience of having I won't even say natural talent. I'll say God-given talent and being able to go to school and learn and perfect what I already kind of knew, what I thought I knew, but it just, you know, having, you know, school just opens up your mind musically and it just gives you a different outlook on stuff. So I won't necessarily say an advantage. It's just, like I said, it just boiled down to how bad you want it. It's just like anything else.
Yeah.
You know, if you really want to be great at playing drums, even now, I feel like you can go to somebody, take lessons. If you dedicate yourself, dedicate an hour or two a day, a couple hours a week, or, you know, something, get you a drum set, like show improve basically, you know. So again, I won't say that we had an advantage, but it definitely helped us out with the talent, you know, as far as, you know, what God has blessed us with.
Okay.
I think church, me personally, I think church is harder, honestly, than secular music. I don't know if y'all agree or disagree. I feel like church, like R&B is just, it's more simple than church.
Yeah,
Really?
for sure.
Like,
Especially now.
Yeah, exactly. Like you'll get some crazy stuff in church.
I want to talk about that a little bit more. I like that point. So I want to talk about the money. I know in our community sometimes money is a lot of people don't like talking about money.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that. Let's talk about that.
Please, let's talk about that.
Man.
On.
Is there money? So, I thought, just hearing some things out there and just, as, drummers, keyboard players, any type of musician, it is really hard out there to do it full time, even if you're a singer.
Extremely.
So so let me see where I want to start. Is there money in it? If I want to get into playing anything, whether it's drums, keyboards, is there money in there? Is it money in it?
Anybody want to answer that?
So it's definitely money. One of the OGs in the town one time, I remember, it was like a big rant on Facebook about people getting gigs around, and he simply told this one dude, he was like, you got to create a lane for yourself.
Yeah.
Once you create that lane for yourself, you kind of control. You in control of what you can make. So if you want to do 4 shows in a month, that's up to you because you've created that lane to do that. So I definitely think it's money. It's just about how you attack what you're trying to do.
The reason why I asked that question is any type of field, everybody says, where is the money? And so, Ray, you actually answered that question really good because I think a lot of times, whatever field that you're in, it's really about what your objective is. And obviously, if you got the purpose, then the money will follow it. So how do you, the gig life, so I guess me operating, and I know, and excuse my ignorance because I'm not an artist, a music artist. So how does one live off of being a musician?
Anybody?
You gotta grind. You gotta grind. I mean, no matter your skill level, you gotta grind. Sure. So, I'll just say, now I will add this. I think the area you live in matters too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Now go on and tell me what that means.
So, I'll just use church for example. So, in church, an organist is usually the most highest paid.
Yeah.
Usually. So, getting paid in church at the highest I've heard around here is like maybe in the black culture church, I'll say around 500, 550. You can go to New York City at a storefront and make that on one service. So, the area in Texas, I mean, you 700, 800 a Sunday. I mean, depending, it's the area.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is. Maybe I don't know why that is. It's just the area matters, and maybe just a bigger market, cities.
Yeah.
The demand is maybe a lot higher, so maybe they're a little bit more willing to chop out. And I mean, I'm sure it's the same for secular too. I mean,
right.
I know I have friends that live in like New York City, and as high as New York City's rent is, they're making it pretty good because they're grinding. Like they'll have maybe an R&B gig on a Tuesday night where they get $350, and then you go to a Friday night gig where you make another $300. So you got $650. Then you got two.
Yeah,
you can do 2 7-day Adventist churches on a Saturday, and they both chop out $400. So that's $8 extra right there. Then you got 2 on Sunday where another $4, $350. So I mean, you made up pretty good.
Money, yeah. So is it grind over talent? Is it grind? Because if you got
both, you gotta have talent too. Because you're not gonna get no calls if you ain't if you ain't got the talent.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's definitely both though.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people that don't have the best of talent and still grinding and making, well more than what I'm making.
Okay.
So.
The other thing I want to talk about is the value of artists, because I guess how do you in any industry, even like as for me as like a life coach, so when you talk about fees and how much you're worth and how much I think someone says not how much you get paid an hour, but how much you value each of your hours. So if I bring what I can bring to your hour, it's gonna cost you something, and that's because I'm bringing value to the hour.
Right.
And so how do you as artists negotiate your value and not sell yourself short on all the things that you talked about, from your foundation and the time that you put into crafting your skill sets, and then negotiating that value and say, this is what it's going to cost you?
So I'm usually the one that negotiates the price for the gigs, if we get gigs.
Yeah.
As of late, I try to make sure that, because it's a lot of us, and I'll say I won't even, because it's 4 of us in the band, and I'm gonna just be honest, like, some people around the town, they just, they want the best, but they don't want to pay. But that's with anything,
Right.
But it just, unfortunately, it sucks when it comes to, music, because everyone loves music. This is our livelihood. Like my brothers were talking about, like, living in Buffalo, we have to have a job, another job on top of doing music, which is also a job in itself.
Right.
So we really just, I honestly, you have to just talk to people and see what their budget is.
Mm-hmm.
And I just try to make sure that I get a budget, and if what you're asking for us to do, if it, works for my brothers, if it works for, if it works for us and it works for them, then we go ahead and do it. It's been plenty times, not as of late, but I would say, like, 5, 6, maybe 4 years ago, like, we'd do a gig and somebody like, all right, we need y'all to come through, and they'd be so ecstatic to, yo, we need y'all to do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. Cool, how much, you chop it, what's your budget? We don't have a budget right now, but, how much you charge? You tell them how much you charge. It's all right, cool. And then you never hear from them again, or seriously, or they'd be like, all right, cool, and they want to bring you down on the price, but it's like, you don't really understand how much really has to go on to have a successful musical experience, I'll say, because you have to,
explain, like rehearsal.
Yeah, like not even just
equipment.
rehearsal, but just it's a whole nine, like you said, rehearsal, bringing in
out the
equipment,
show.
like preparing for the show. It's literally like 1,000 things that has to be done. Like you can set up and play anywhere, but like for keyboard players, like they have to have an amp. If you want to have somebody here, like if we doing a podcast, you would have to have mics and stuff and be hooked up and patched in and all that stuff. And people usually don't have the equipment, so you got to pay for that. And a lot of people usually, they just, they don't want to pay for, for the top of the line music experience. I would say locally, because we still striving to get better. We are not, the greatest musicians ever. We hungry.
Right.
And that's really it. We hungry, and we are willing to do, I won't say anything, but we are willing to do, almost anything, as long as it doesn't degrade who we are and it doesn't bring, shame to, God and stuff like that. We with it,
Love it.
So we just value our lives, knowing our self-worth.
That's
I feel like
important.
that has helped
That's
us a lot, because we're not going to do a gig. We're not going to do a 5-hour gig for $500 or $400. Y'all want us to come and play, and y'all want us to, do this and do that, but y'all don't want to pay that fee. It's just
And we did enough free gigs.
That's a fact.
We've done. There's been times where I watch him pay us and he don't get paid, like stuff like that. To help people out. So I definitely agree with everything you said.
Now, the other question I have for you guys is, as a solo music artist, the competition out there is hard. Obviously, you got the secular world, you got churches, if you decide to play for churches. Now, as far as how you guys came together, like what made you guys come together as a group? I know you do your individual things, but what kind of like, okay, we should do this together? How did that come about?
Together.
Yeah.
That's honestly, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
no,
off.
you're good.
Okay, yeah. It's better together. Like you said, we all are individuals, but we recognize that in order to take this thing to the next level, you have to have a team.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a team with similar goals, a similar mindset, you're just going to be stagnant. You're going to be in the same place. It's tough to do things on your own, by yourself, especially in the music world. Like you just can't do it by yourself.
Yeah.
You cannot do it by yourself. You have to have a team. And, God brought us all together. These are my brothers, and we recognized that early. And we stayed together, and we gonna stay together. We gonna ride out, you know, and really just.
Now you
put
gave
on
me
for
the now you
team.
gave me the good thing. So now tell me now the challenges of being friends and dealing with business. What's some of the challenges that go into that?
I mean, everybody has their own personalities. You know, everybody. You know, you don't agree with everything that goes on, of
Right.
course. But it's just, I say the challenge is, you know, finding where you can find that medium. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Where everybody's satisfied, even if it's like, I'm not always satisfied, but okay, this can work. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Let's find a common ground. You know, knowing your knowing each other, knowing what each,
Sacrifice.
you know what I'm saying. We gotta all understand, all have our own role.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
everybody
saying? Everybody
play
play your role. Everybody play your role. So once you know, once we get to the common ground and we come to an understanding with that, things usually always work out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we've all argued before. We've all wanted to kill each
Thank
other,
you.
but I mean, at the end of the day, we all love each other still.
For
You know,
sure.
we all.
And can't nobody say nothing bad about
You
it.
know, exactly.
I think personally the biggest thing is I always when I have private conversations with him, I just tell him like, you know, everybody don't have to be the man. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm okay with taking a back seat and letting him and Rob be the brains because they know exactly what they're doing. You know,
Right.
with certain things. You know, he knows certain things that we don't know, and
Mhm.
Rod knows certain things that we don't know. So it's okay for you to say, you know, let me step back on this and play my role. You
Mhm.
know, and once you know, just like a basketball team, there's 5 players on the team.
Sure.
You know, the shooting guard is not going to try to go be the power forward. So
True.
everybody
Come on,
play
talk,
their
Kobe.
role. Everybody
Take us
play
to
their
church.
role.
Yeah, you feel me?
Everybody play their role, and you know, it just makes things easier, smoother, and it do be bumps in the road, but it's just when everybody play their role, it makes things more simple and easier.
So I want to talk about as a music, so you talked about your foundation. So being a music artist is one thing, but then being a business person, because there's a lot of talented people, but then they don't have the business, I would say, skill set. So how do you transition? And I guess what advice would you give to other entrepreneurs in the music of how do you handle the business part of it? Because you have to go if you're trying to grow in this industry.
I would simply say, learn it yourself, but also find someone that is good at what you're trying to accomplish, and don't use them for their, for the resources. Don't use it, but become a student, and be watchful, and just if that's what you want to do, you want to grow in the business, you have to learn. You have to find somebody that knows it and learn from them. And I wanted to say like business, the business aspect of what we do, like we are like they say, we play our roles. Just like he said, Ray said, he take the step back on certain things because myself or Rod knows a little something. That's just like with me on the business side. Like we all got our roles. So Ray, you handle the business, bro, because this is honestly really what you wanted to get in for. Like you say, I'm good at the music business stuff. I'm good at business stuff in general. So cool. This is your title. This is your role. You go and do that. I step back and I handle this. When he stepped back, he handled this. Rod, he stepped back, he handled this. And everybody, like they said, they just play their role. But, you get somebody, Ray has had a super business influence, I won't, say no names, but, just having somebody that is really great at, knowing business and knowing what to do, the ins and outs of it, having somebody like that at your, I won't even say at your leisure, but just having somebody that's just there for you and you can learn from and, take what they teach you and apply it to different things because, music business is different, but it's also the same as any other business, But yeah, that's really my advice is just to learn from somebody that already knows, apply it to what you got and just, grow with that person until it's time for you to separate or, if you don't separate, you guys will grow together.
And I would say applying it also to, like I use my business stuff when I'm doing business with them also. So like me going, if he did a verse for me, I'm going to invoice him, as I would do a regular artist, So practicing, with the people within your circle first. So when you get out there, it's the same,
So did you guys have to learn, I guess, some trial and errors? You know how, because I know sometimes when you do business, I've learned too in the past where people and you just do, verbal agreements and you're like, yeah, okay, I'll come, through. Did you have to learn the hard way of like, okay, I got to put this in right and I got to handle this in the business?
Because I always tell them to, like, when we do, anytime you do business the proper way, you kind of control what you're going to get back from it.
Absolutely.
So if I want somebody to do a track for me and we don't have anything written out or anything, they're going to just, it's always going to get blown off until they're ready to do it. You got the deposit down and all that. Now it's real business. Whether we friends, family, it doesn't matter. So that's what I would say.
Or contract.
Yeah, contracts. No verbals, though. No.
Right. I was about to say, I won't necessarily say that I had to learn. I would say that I had the ability to watch certain people do business verbally and it goes bad.
Yeah.
So, I applied that to my stuff and I want to make sure that I never, do anything. Everything is always in writing. Everything won't get stiff that way.
That's the best way.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to talk about this we have a few minutes left, but I want to talk about this on a surface level. You guys obviously play in churches, and there's always this feeling, I guess, or maybe opinion out there that says that musicians who play in the church should be spiritual, should be God-fearing, but there's some who don't believe that if you play in the church, you're supposed to be lifting up God. How can then a musician go out into the secular world and play secular music? So I just give me some insight of what you're feeling that.
I would say that as long as you keep God first in what you're doing, it doesn't matter where you are, because you can be in a club and you can bring somebody to God with your playing. You can, I'll just say this shortly. Thomas T.C. Clay, it was a concert that they had on YouTube. I'm not really sure where it was at, but I heard him say, we can praise God and we in the club right now, but we can still. He had a set and he did his thing, and it's just like they say in church, like it's not about the four walls, it's about outside of those four walls. When you reach the people and what do they see when they see you? You know what I'm saying? So I definitely feel like because we do it, we have to support ourselves, one, but also like before we do any gig, we always pray. We pray that we touch, somebody's life through our music, through our playing, because I just feel like as long as we aren't, again, degrading ourselves or, bringing shame to God or disrespecting ourselves or disrespecting, anybody or, just putting out bad vibes or bad music, stuff like that. Like, I feel like, the lane that you're in, you can go ahead and do it as long as you keep God first.
Anybody else want to add to that?
I agree.
No, I just agree. I mean, ministry goes beyond church. That's just my thing. Jesus didn't do all his work in the church. He went out, to everywhere to reach people. But no, I mean, you can find God anywhere. Some of the best church songs was written in clubs, for real. Like Precious Lord, the dude was drunk.
I got so many songs I want to say, but let's keep it like.
Man. But I mean,
so I wanted to, because I want to talk about the venue. So I know Ray a couple weeks ago invited me to. It's called the venue, right?
Vice.
The Vice.
You at the club.
Yeah, it's at the club. And so obviously I went to
No, venue is a club.
Okay, yeah, venue is a club, yeah.
Yeah, so Vice. So I've been there to eat, obviously, but then so Ray invited me to come see you guys play, and it was almost like 15, 20 years since I actually been into like that type of environment. and that's just because I just don't drink, not because of religious reasons. It's just it's not my thing. And so I wasn't expecting it. It was actually a nice, really good vibe. And it just brought me back to my Chippewa days when I was younger. It reminded me how old I am, but the vibe was really good. But when I was listening to a lot of the artists up there, and then obviously all of you guys are playing, and I was just like, I was really amazed. And I think I told you this. I was like, I didn't, because obviously seeing people in church playing music and certain things, but to see you guys in a different light and just like, wow, I had a deeper respect for what you guys do, because I was like, wow, the music is, the sound and everything. It was dope all around. And so I got to get back out there.
Sure. Shout out, man, y'all tap in with us. We can bring in the vibes.
Yeah. But even that, like, I think probably years ago, like, I think people perception and like when you go into like, oh, you went to a club, and I share this one story with you, is that when I first got saved, one of the things that I did was I threw all of my rap CDs out. Like, I got to throw all of these out. And I had to, like, I really felt like that was like the worst thing I could have done, because I was like, that didn't change who I was. Like, your music, and I know some people have this thing like, you know, you are what you listen to, and I think to a certain extent, I think that's true. But I do still have appreciation for different music, and I think you can grow from different people's expressions. Like, when I listen to Drake, you know, like, I don't feel like I'm going into a demonic spirit. There's some moments where I need to vibe to Drake.
Yeah.
You know, if I get emotional, and I may want to listen to certain things.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't think that separates the whole me. And I think as I was younger, I had to learn that. And I see so many people, you know, it depends on who you are. Again, whatever floats your boat far, if you don't want to listen to that music, then it's not.
Absolutely.
But long story short, like, I really appreciate, you know, the invite, because it really just gave me a whole different perspective, because you just have like, oh, I would never go in there, and I don't want people to see me because, you know, my role or whatever the case may be. And it was a really a good vibe. And like I said, just to see the talent too, I was like, it's so much talent in that, and who came on the stage. I was like, wow, I didn't even know this person is the artist. So I just have, so tell me a little bit about how you guys, how that event came to be about. I know you had a couple events at the Vice.
So, man, basically, we got another partner, which is Christian Wade. Shout out to Christian.
Shout out to bruv.
So basically, we all kind of have the same idea. You know, everybody that's in the collective kind of have the same idea. You know, we want to generate generational wealth, you know, for our kids. We want to take care of our families and things like that. So that's really kind of how the whole collective thing came about. Yeah, one meeting turned into another meeting, which turned into the first show, that turned into another show, and then, you know, the rest is history. So, anything you want to input on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's really it. Like, we had meetings, and we shared a vision, and we brought the vision to life. That was really it, and we acted on it.
So give me some insight of like how, now is the purpose of the event to like grab other artists and highlight though? Can anybody from the community get involved and, you know, display their artistry on there?
So yes, so basically right now it's just that what we're doing Sunday Night Live is just one small entity of what the Next Gen Collective is. Like I told you before we started the podcast today, we are really, you know, branching out to the generation after us, because we want to, you know, help them along, you know, the way that we didn't get help. We didn't receive. And I could speak for myself right now, and I could, you know, I don't want to speak for them, but I could speak for them, because we grew up in the same generation. We didn't really get the help from the older heads that we thought we was gonna, you know, because they thought of it as competition, when it's really like, yo, it's enough for us to eat. But long story short, you know, we want to reach out to the generation after us and bring them the opportunities that we didn't have, you know. So Sunday Night Live is just, like I said, it's a small entity of what the Next Gen Collective is. But that, yes, you can be anybody locally. Like, you can follow the Next Gen page and you can stay in contact with them. We do right now. We do pick, the people that we want to display, at the moment,
Right.
just because we are still building. We're in the building process. We just started last year, July was our first meeting. And then we just, we took off from there. But like I said, we're still in the beginning stages and we're still building and branching out and expanding our brand. So we have 2 shows called Sunday Night. We have Sunday Night Live and we have NGC and Friends. It's a bit of a difference. Sunday Night Live is we, get a few local talents and, we get up there and we display, we do cover songs and stuff like that. NGC and just provide the vibe. Like you said, you had a great time. We want to bring that nostalgic feeling back, 90s R&B, stuff like that. We want to bring that feel-good music. We want to leave people with, the feeling of, love and stuff like that. That's what that is for, And then NGC and Friends is we bring, again, local people to showcase their talents, to showcase what they have going on. So if they have original music, NGC and Friends would be for them to display their music and stuff like that. So we have a couple different things going on and brewing right now, but it's right just that this upcoming year 2022 and in the years to come, I feel like NGC will be a big name. So if everybody watching this, follow the next. If you have Instagram, follow the Next Gen Collective on Instagram.
Absolutely.
And just tap in because we really, we want to bring those vibes and we just trying to give people the opportunity that, to do things that we didn't have, basically.
Love it. Anybody want to add to that at all?
Nah, he had it all.
No, he broke it down. That helps everybody understand that. So as we wrap up, is there anything that you guys want to share? Any last words, advice, anything you got going on that you want to put out there?
Plug your Instagram.
Oh, yeah, my Instagram, Trey Keys _. That's
Okay.
follow me.
IG Slim SLIM _RAX. Follow me, y'all.
I'm Biz on the Beat on Instagram. It's on the flyer. BIZZLEONDABEAT.
Bizzle on the Beat.
Yeah. But I just wanted to go back to a point when you said I actually just wanted to talk about Nipsey Hussle real quick because he was a person that just you listen to his music and you can have an influential I won't even say experience. You be influenced or you'll be like ready to I want to start a business, like I want to do this, I want to do that, because that's just what he portrayed in his music. Like I always talk about his story. He went from the hard rap, like Ice Cube, slinging crack, stuff like that. And he transitioned his music to, a more business model and just really teaching, black people to really be, to go in a business for yourself, and not have a middleman, basically, So I just wanted to tap in on that point real quick, just as far as like the influence that music has.
Definitely. No, I appreciate that. So we're gonna wrap up, but I really appreciate the 3 of you coming in, and shout out to Rod, RB. What's his name again?
RB3.
RB3. Okay.
RB3.
Make sure I don't call him Hot Rod.
Right.
I appreciate you guys sharing that insight because, like I said, there's so many people who go through, obviously, are in the music industry. And my final question to you guys would be: do you think in the city of Buffalo and just Western New York overall, that the playing field is growing far as just even having more opportunities? Because you talked about there's enough food for all of us to eat. It's hard because, again, the gigs come far and few, again, especially during this pandemic. Do you think the space is growing as far as opportunities, especially like the ones that you're creating, giving people the platform to even perform? Because like I said, it's hard to see different artists play because you don't really, there's 1 or 2 places you play. So it's like, how do I grow and become a good artist? Right. But do you feel that where we are now, the space is growing in as far as the music?
I do. Anybody want to chime in?
I think it's definitely growing. I think musicians just have to be open to playing with other musicians,
Explain that a little bit more.
I feel like here it's kind of like just cliquish. So
Yeah.
like I'm open to playing with anybody. Not sure about them.
No,
Speaking
I'm
on my
open.
behalf,
Yeah, I'm
but
Same.
I'm
open
open
to
to
anybody.
playing with anybody. I know some people they just want to play with the people that they want to play with, and that's understandable
Yeah.
also. But I think there is an open market in Buffalo. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we in musical renaissance right now. Like, as far as Buffalo, shout out to like West Side, Benny, Conway.
Yeah.
Shout out to them, Griselda, Drumwork. Some of the homies, Skis, Billy Esco, Love. Like, they really putting Buffalo rap on right now. So I would just say it's a musical renaissance. Just because they like they kicking the door down,
Absolutely.
to the music industry to show them that they really just putting Buffalo on the map for real. Like, I mean, we don't get me wrong, we have had other people come from Buffalo, but they just have not done it on the scale that West, Benny, and Con is doing it right now. So, man, they taking over, they taking over, and it's just lovely to see. Like, anytime, like when we out, man, I always tell them like I'm always for uplifting any and everybody that's trying to do something good.
Yeah.
So if you doing something good, and you trying to uplift the community, and trying to give back, put people in a position to give back, man, like you cool with me. Like, I'm in support. So again, shout out to them, and shout out to everybody that's really just trying to I won't say try. We got to take that word out of our vocabulary too. But working on, becoming the best version of themselves, and really just, working on being that person that you really want to be, in whatever it is.
I respect it. So we're gonna wrap up, but I do want to just say publicly, we obviously you guys play at the church that I go to as well. And I remember maybe about 3 years ago, for the first time, I sat down in the room with not Wynton, but the two of you and a few other band members. And sometimes you have this perception of like music, or music artists, musicians, and because sometimes you say some musicians come and they play for the money, and they leave. And I was sitting down in a meeting with you guys a few years ago, and I just left that meeting just really inspired, because sometimes you make this perception, but your faith in God, your respect for just wanting to do what's right, I think goes a long way, because again, you have this people generally judge, because one is that most musicians who playing at church are getting paid, so they're only there because they're getting paid. But or they don't have the faith, they don't practice their faith.
Yeah.
And I think just having that conversation in that meeting with you guys a few years ago just changed my whole perspective of like what you guys do and who you are as what you bring to the table. And so I just want to, you don't need my encouragement, but I just want to let you know publicly that I just respect all of you guys, what you do each and every day.
Thank you.
And it is a respected ministry, because one is, I know you guys play for funerals and so forth, and again, you're ministering, and I think there's a difference when you're just playing an instrument, is you're ministering. It is a ministry, because you're bringing in and you're allowing the flow of God to operate in there, and so it's just so much respect for you guys, what you're doing, just
Thank you.
in the church and outside the church. So just keep up the
Likewise.
great work, man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
likewise.
We
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Same to you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Same to
So
you.
this is episode number 10 down in the books.
Yeah.
Our last episode is next week. Until then, I'll see you guys next week.
Let's get it.
Yeah.